Awesome, awesome. Well, hey, let's give it up for Jesus in this place today. Amen, amen. So as Pastor Josh said, my name is Pete, and what he didn't tell you, we spent a whole lot of time together. Let's just say Josh and I even slept in the outdoors, under the stars together, to stay warm in Hamul during a youth camp. We got a lot of fun memories, man. I love this guy, I love Bree, and I'm really thankful for your guys as pastors and for what he's doing here at Center Church. And it's good to be back here. Good to see a lot of you. Some faces I recognize. It's a lot of new faces, but behind each and every single one of these faces that are here, for those of you guys who are online, what up, online crew? Hey, there's a story. There's a story about God's faithfulness. There's a story about God's love. But ultimately, there is also a dream. How many of you guys have ever had dreams, right? Some of us, we've got dreams that we totally want to live out and actually be a reality. Some of us, we've got some scary dreams that kind of freak us out a little bit and wonder what the heck did we just eat last night? All those different things. But today, I want to talk about what I've titled this message as Dream On. So I want you to tell your neighbor, say it right now, just tell them with the attitude that you got, with some gusto, with some life, with some flavor. Just say, dream on. Tell them, dream on right now.
Dream on.
All right. That's it. There we go. And so we're going to be diving into this movie, and I'm going to share a clip from Hidden Figures. And so why don't we go ahead and just play that. You guys check this out.
Wow. Where is she? No more running. Everywhere I look, you're not where I need you to be. Now, where do you go every day?
To the bathroom, sir.
To the bathroom. For 40 minutes a day?
We're T-minus 0 here. I put a lot of faith in you.
There's no bathroom for me here.
What do you mean there's no bathroom for you here?
There is no bathroom. There are no colored bathrooms in this building or any building outside the West Campus, which is half a mile away. Did you know that? I have to walk to Timbuktu just to relieve myself. And I can't use one of the handy bikes. Picture that, Mr. Harrison. My uniform, skirt below my knees, my heels, and a simple string of pearls. Well, I don't own pearls. Lord knows you don't pay colors enough to afford pearls. And I work like a dog, day and night, living off of coffee from a pot none of you want to touch.
See, this movie, Hidden Figures, it's a story about a woman named Katherine Johnson, who was, at that time, this movie was, the time frame that this movie was kind of representing was in the late 50s, early 60s, when the space race was on with NASA. And so Katherine Johnson was also known as a human computer because this girl graduated at the age of 14, went to college. Anybody? I'm like, yeah, don't even talk about me. That's not me, right? And so all of these different things. And so she's really, really intelligent, really, really smart, and she had dreams and aspirations to use her giftings, to use her talents, to make a difference, right? To make something of herself, to make an impact, to not just set herself up in her life, but actually to help those around her. She dreamed of making a difference in the mathematic field, and then here she is, knowing the full-blown reality of what racial things are at that time, the gender barriers at that time that existed, all of those different things, yet what did she do? She ignored them, and she kept on pushing forward. See, she surrounded herself with those people, and she didn't take no for an answer, and she pushed her way in to say, you know what, I've done the work. I know that I'm gifted. I know the dream that I have, and I'm not going to let your thoughts or your feelings or what culture says to push me out and to keep me away. Pretty crazy, huh? I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie, but it is one of my favorites for many, many different reasons, and there's so many different stories that can be pulled out of it. But today, I want to talk about this dream. I want to talk about dream on. And so here she is, right? She knew that she had done the work. She knew that she belonged. She was being a part of the big space race. She dreamed of helping get astronauts into space and bringing them home. You know, for all of us in this room, for all of us who are watching online, we've all had dreams. But we've also, to face, you know, we can think about the bright spots and the bright moments, but we've also had some dark moments where we've had dreams that have been crushed one way or another. Can anyone relate? I mean, have you had dreams of maybe of success, of having a big career? I know here in SoCal, maybe some of you've had dreams of buying a home or taking that dream vacation, but due to life and circumstances and just plain out cost of living, that is just not a reality at the moment. Come on, somebody, right? Maybe you had a dream to make something of yourself. Maybe you've had a dream, if you're a student, you've had a dream about impacting and being a light on your campus, and because of the pandemic, that took everything and turned everything upside down, and your school career has been completely different than what you even imagined it would have been. Maybe it was a dream of starting a family, but you've not been able to have kids. Maybe it's a dream of having that perfect marriage, but you haven't been able to connect and love your spouse in such a way that you imagined it to be. See, what do you do when you have a dream? What do you do when your dream feels like it's being shattered into a million pieces? I want you to tell your neighbor, dream on. See, today we're going to look at Genesis. The book of Genesis is that very, very first book in the Bible. And so if you don't see Genesis after opening like into the introduction, you went way too far. Like literally the first book, okay? But we're going to look at Genesis chapter 37 all the way through actually 45. We're not going to read all of those. I don't got time for that. No one got time for that, and it's okay. But here we are here in Genesis chapter 37, and we have this guy by the name of Joseph. Everybody say Joseph. See, Joseph was a young teenage guy who had a dream. And at the age of 17, he had this dream that one day he was going to be a leader. One day he was going to be an influencer, right? One day he thought he was going to be making a big difference, that he was going to be full of power, that he was going to have authority. And so Joseph, being young, being ambitious, being really, really excited about what this dream, about what he saw, he talks to the people that are closest to him. So he talks to his brothers. How many of you can already tell, man, this is not a good direction? And so Joseph, right, talks to his brothers, and then he shares with them this dream about one day his older brothers are going to bow down. Any young siblings in the house? How many of you would have dared say that to your older siblings? See, Joseph was so moved by his dreams that he told his brothers all about it. And they didn't respond with joy, but they responded with anger, with hatred. They were upset, so upset and frustrated that they eventually threw him into a pit, and they were actually wrestling with wanting to kill him. But then they decided, you know what, we probably shouldn't do that because that would be very hard to explain to Dad. Like, so Joseph, right? That just wouldn't have worked. And so what do? They sold him into slavery. So Joseph, with these big dreams, with these big things that God had put into his life and showed him, he ends up now in a foreign land called Egypt. And his dreams that were once super grateful, super awesome, just completely reaching for the stars, now become a nightmare. So what do you do when your dreams feel shattered? You dream on. See, Joseph shows us how we should respond when our dreams are shattered. And so here's the first thing I want to tell you. How do we respond just like Joseph? We set a new goal. We set a new goal. And now we're going to jump in, and so it's a couple chapters later into Genesis chapter 39, and this is where we're going to read out of the New Living Translation. You guys can follow with me along the screen, or if you've got your app and all that stuff. So Genesis 39. When Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Now Potiphar was captain of the guard for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and the Lord was, catch this, with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did. As he served in the home of his Egyptian master, Potiphar noticed this and realized that what? The Lord was with Joseph, giving him success in everything he did, and this pleased Potiphar. So he soon made Joseph his personal attendant. He put him in charge of his entire household and everything he owned. See, Joseph gets sold into slavery, gets taken away from his home, gets taken away from his dad, his brothers, and all these different things. He finds himself in a foreign land called Egypt, and then he is sold to Potiphar, who's an Egyptian officer. And what does he do? He doesn't just sulk in the reality of everything that he's going through. He doesn't just sulk and feel like he's the victim and all of these different things. He probably wrestled with all of that, because we're all human. So for me to say that we don't have to wrestle, or we don't have to come face to face with our emotions and actually have to deal with the mind games, is false, right? We all have to grow through that. And so here we see Joseph. He's in this new situation, and so what does he do? He sets a new goal. And what was his goal? He set a new goal to be the very best that he could be. To be the best worker. See, Joseph, he lost all his dignity, but he didn't lose his dream. Everything may have felt like it was shattered in a million pieces, but yet that did not stop him. See, have you lost something of value this season? Have you lost something of value this season? Have you lost something that you thought once defined you or made you who you are? See, we have to be like Joseph, where we have to draw a line in the sand. We have to say, you know what? We have to determine in our heart. You have to determine in your heart that your dream can still become a reality. So how do you do that? You set a new goal. You take a different direction. I discover time and time again that my best laid plans often don't usually line up with God's plans. Doesn't that suck? I mean, for real, like some of my plans, like I'll be honest, some of the plans that I think of, they are amazing. Some of these plans that I think of, man, I should sell them and get some money for this. Like, no joke. I know I can fix people's lives, that'll change it. But man, does God humble you, and man, does He put you in the right place. See, set a new goal. We've got some dreams, you've got some aspirations, you've got some things that God has placed in your heart, that God has placed in your life. And you almost become like that hidden figure that has to go through something, that has to hold on, that has to dream on in order for it to actually become a reality. See, why doesn't our best laid plans often work out? Because it can be way too easy. Because we'll take all the credit. Because the character of the person we need to be can never be sharpened if we don't go through a process. I mean, think about that. We can have some of the best laid plans, but if our character isn't developed, our talents and our gifts will never keep us there. You know, some of you, this is definitely, I want to share this today. Maybe some of you feel like you're going through a cycle. You're kind of in this wash, rinse, and repeat, and you're trying to make something different. You're trying to accomplish your dream, but you're relying so much on your own giftings and your own personality and your own skill set that you're not trusting God enough to actually bring you to the next side. Dream on. See, my family and I, we moved to Orange County a couple years ago. So we're just an hour north of you guys. I love SD, San Diego. So good to be back here. You guys have got the breeze. You've got like 50 million access points to the beach. Like, no joke, seriously. I love San Diego. You guys have got Tajima, ramen. Oh, come on somebody. We can say amen right now. We're done. But living in OC, I've had a lot of different meetings in Orange County, and it ranges in a lot of different places. You know, I've got, not only do I have the five that I've got to deal with, I have the 405, I have the 55, I have everything that ends with 5, like, you know. But I had a meeting in Orange County, and as I was driving, I had Siri on my phone. For all of you guys who have Apple devices, you know what I'm talking about. If you have an Android, I'm so sorry. But here's the deal, right? So I have Siri. I changed her accent. I call her Sydney. I like the Aussie accent that she has, and so that's how mine sounds. I don't know how you have Siri whispering sweet nothings to you, but that's the way she whispers to me. You know, some of you may change it to the guy. I think the guy just sounds hilarious. But I was driving with directions, and I had a meeting, and then I ran into something that I love most when I drive: traffic. And I looked, and Siri was still telling me to go a certain direction that was the fastest way. And I looked at my phone, and I looked at what Siri was communicating to me, and I'm like, I don't trust you. You're not looking out for me. I felt betrayed by what happened. You can run through a lot of thoughts when you're sitting in traffic. And I see an off-ramp, and I'm like, oh, I know a shortcut. I know how I can get around. So then I get off, I reroute, and I do it myself. I set a new course, right? I reroute. I do it myself. I get off the highway, I try this other route, only to find myself stuck again because I'm along with every other person who had the same bright idea that I did. So I had to go a little out of my way to get to where I wanted, but guess what? I eventually got where I needed to go. It just took a little longer. See, there's a God in heaven. Can I tell you this, Center Church? There is a God in heaven that isn't surprised at where you find yourself. He's not thrown off by the obstacles to your dream. He's simply saying, reroute. Reroute. There's another way. Can you listen to me? Can you follow my leading? Can you have patience and trust in my plan? So don't give up. Set a new goal right where you are. So maybe you're sitting here today, maybe you're watching online, your marriage isn't where you want it to be, your family isn't where you want it to be. Can I tell you today, take a new route. Reroute. Do something different. Trust God. Stop trying to do it all on your own strength. Maybe you're married. Date each other again. Find a way to fan things in the flame that once burned bright. Maybe your kids or your workplace are pushing you past the brink of insanity. Amen. Amen. I have, for those of you who don't know, my wife, she's in the kids area. My beautiful wife, Sarah, love her. She is my best friend. She is my favorite. We've been married for over 16 years. I have my oldest son, Jaden, who some of you guys have been like, wow, he grew like 2 feet. Yes, he did. We bought 16 different sets of clothes, and he still doesn't fit in the new ones that I got him. So if you guys have an answer for like stoppage, like growth stoppage things, like let me know and I'll figure that out. So my son Jaden is 11, my daughter Blakely, she is 8, and she's waving right over there. She is 8 going on 20. Come on, can I get a witness? And then I have a 21, almost 21-month-old named Makai. I call him God's sense of humor. You can put that together, because I love my wife. So, but here, I think about it. Maybe your kids, right? They're pushing you past the brink of insanity. Set a new route. Don't keep doing or thinking the same thing, but instead of responding maybe with anger or frustration, instead of being negative, respond with love. Respond with patience. Respond with kindness. See, spend time with those that you love. Maybe you find yourself dealing with health issues today. Can I encourage you? Maybe you might need to change some of your habits. Maybe you might need to exercise. Maybe you might need to eat better. Maybe you might need to spend more time feeding your soul than getting sucked into the endless scroll of social media. And I am guilty. Maybe you need to change who you surround yourself with. Whatever it is, reroute. Set a new goal. Do something different. Trust God. See, just because it may be delayed doesn't mean that it's denied. And here's the second truth that we can learn from Joseph. God will go the distance with you. Can I speak that truth over you today? God will go the distance with you. Let me say that again. God will go the distance with you. See, when our dreams are shattered, isn't it funny how we begin to wrestle with so many different lies, so many different doubts? We begin to wonder things like, God, where are you? We begin to think like, man, God, have you left me? Do you even care anymore? I mean, during Joseph's darkest season, God was with him. He was sold to Potiphar. Potiphar trusted him with everything. And then a woman entered the picture because she had some eyes for Joseph. And Joseph, what did he do? When the temptation came, he ran. That's a whole other message in itself, right? Like, no, I can stand that. No, you can't. You're stupid. Right? But here's the deal. So Joseph, he ran, but what happens? He gets set up. He gets falsely accused. He doesn't try to prove himself. He's like, all right, here we go. Got to make the best of it. God's going to take care of me. Why? Because God will go the distance with you. When he's giving you a dream, when he's giving you a desire, God will go the distance. See, when we look at this passage and the story of Joseph, I want you guys check it out, do some research, read through it. You're going to see that there are 5 powerful, life-changing words that we see multiple times through Joseph's story. And I want you to see it today. See, the Lord was with Joseph. The Lord was with Joseph. The Lord was with Joseph. See, right in Genesis 39, verse 2, he says, the Lord was with Joseph, so he what? Succeeded. Quit believing the lies that you're not making a difference, that you're not making an impact, that nothing is happening. Because if the Lord is with you, you will succeed. See, these 5 words change everything. See, Joseph was falsely accused. He was thrown into prison. But what shows up again? We look a few verses later in verse 20 and 21. It says, so he took Joseph and threw him into the prison where the king's prisoners were held. There he remained. But the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his faithful love. The Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. Sometimes life can just be unfair and it can be hard. See, his dreams were being shattered over and over again. But God was with Joseph the entire time. When he was in the pit, God was there. When he was sold into slavery, God was there. When he was in Potiphar's house, God was there. When he was with Joseph, right, when he was put in prison, he was with Joseph when the cupbearer forgot to even mention Joseph's name and talk about him and left him in prison. He was with Joseph when Pharaoh called, and he was with Joseph when he went from the prison into the palace. See, God was with Joseph the entire time. Isn't it crazy how when trouble comes, we find ourselves dealing with the same lies? See, Satan, we know him. He is a liar. He's good at it. He's a serpent. See, if God loved you, he would say things like this. Maybe you've run these through your head. I've had these thoughts before. If God loved you, he would have done something already. If God is with you, you wouldn't be struggling like this. Come on. If you were a Christian, if you really love Jesus the way that you say that you do, you wouldn't be struggling like that. Oh, really? See, other believers, other Christians, they don't have difficulties like that. You're the only one. Why are you so different? Why are you so alone, right? Doesn't that alienate you and pull you away? All of your dreams, they're supposed to come true. See, it's not true. We live in a fallen world. We live in a world that sin has entered into the picture. We live in a world that has been tainted from God's ultimate design due to our sin, due to our mistakes, due to our selfishness, due to our greed, our lust, you name it. But even in the midst of all that, God still loves you and he loves me. And even in the midst of all that, we can still love God, yet still be thrown into a pit. We can love God and still be falsely accused. We can love God but still be thrown into prison. We can love God and lose our job or get sick. We can love God and lose a loved one. We can love God and guess what? Have trouble. But because the Lord was with Joseph, the Lord is with you, and you can dream on. See, Jesus was accused, he was mocked, he was beaten, he was crucified for a crime he didn't commit, and he didn't rise up and say, "Stop that, son," right? But he took it because he knew what God had placed in his life, his call, what he committed himself to. Sometimes our circumstances, the things that we go through, they don't add up to the dream in our heart, but that doesn't mean that God isn't with you. God is with you in the good. He's with you in the bad. When a loved one dies, God is with you. When you have a miscarriage, God is with you. When you can't seem to get ahead, God is with you. When someone you trust wounds you and stabs you in the back, God is with you. When your job doesn't seem to be adding up or leading anywhere, and you don't feel like you're making a difference, God is with you. When those who are closest to you don't understand what God is doing in your life, guess what? God is with you. See, Hebrews 13:5 says this. God makes a promise. He says, "I will never fail you. I will never abandon you." The same God that is on the mountaintop that every single one of us so destined to be at and to live our life on 24/7 because we want those views, we want those looks, we want to see those sunrises, we want to see those sunsets. But guess what? The same God that is in that mountaintop is the same God that is with you in the valley.
Yes, sir. That's good. That's good.
See, Jesus is committed to you. He's given you everything. He's gone the distance all the way to death and back. He is with you even when you doubt. He is with you when you're insecure. He is with you when you're clouded thoughts and your feelings. God will go the distance with you. And so now I have a question. Can you go the distance with him? Dream on. See, Joseph had plenty of chances to give up on God and his dream, but he gave his best in the middle of the circumstance. And I'm almost done. See, in 2019, I had reached a point in my life where I wanted to give up. I was tired. I was burned out. The things of life weren't doing it for me anymore. Because I got so caught up in the doing that I forgot who I needed to be. And even in those darkest times, where I wrestled and I was like, man, I've been a pastor for how many years? I never imagined it happened to me. But then I realized God was with me. See, when God gives you a comeback, it's for someone else's comeback. See, when God helps make your dream become a reality, it's not just for you. He wants to use your life to help other people. It's never done so that you can look at other people and say, "Now what, son?" Right? We all want to rise up. We all want to buck up sometimes. But it's not for that. It's always done so that others can receive something as well. And so here we have in Genesis 45, 3-5, it says this is later on, right? Joseph, he meets his brothers. His brothers come. And he says, "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still alive?" But his brothers were speechless. They were stunned to realize that Joseph was standing there in front of them. And he said, "Come on, guys, come closer." So they came closer. And he said again, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt." Then verse 5, he says, "But don't be upset. Don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives." I mean, Joseph had every opportunity to rise up and be like, "You guys did this to me, and let me take revenge on you. Now that I got the power." Because at this time now, Joseph was the second one in control. You know, you had Pharaoh and then Joseph. I mean, talk about favor, talk about what? But But that's how Joseph responds. See, then we look at Genesis 50, and we see then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, take wagons from the land of Egypt to carry your little children and your wives and bring your father here. Don't worry about your personal belongings, for the best of all the land of Egypt is" what? Yours. Don't ever look at your comeback as a payback. Don't be so full of pride. Don't draw attention to make other people feel bad, because guess what? Your struggles and your valley seasons, they're going to be way more encouraging to other people than any of your successes will ever be. See, there's a pastor by the name of Craig Rochelle. He says this all the time. He says, man, we impress people with our strengths, but we connect with people through our weakness. The Bible gives us every bit of Joseph's story. See, I can't relate to Joseph as being the number 2 in command. That actually freaks me out a little bit thinking about it. But then again, in this time and age, I probably could do a better job. Just kidding. Not really. We've all got common sense in some ways. But here's the reality to this, right? I can't relate to Joseph being that high in authority, but I can't relate to his struggle. His struggle led to his success. Our dreams, your dreams, guess what? They can still happen. So, dream on. Dream on. If the band can come up. Center Church, I'll tell you this. I'm thankful for God's faithfulness. I'm thankful for his character and who he is. I'm thankful that you're here today. I'm thankful that you're watching on the other side of that screen. Can I be honest with you and just let you know, I'm not here today to impress, but I am here today because I want God to impact you. See, if God can use Joseph's story, if God can use my story to impact you, then let it be. Because I'll tell you this, I have failed countless times. I've messed up countless times. But God, he can reach down into your struggle and make your dream a reality. See, some of you may not know, but I grew up in a single-parent household. I didn't know who my dad was. My dad left when I was 2 years old. And so I had some daddy issues. I had some insecurity issues. I had a lot of just issues. But I did have a dream that God would give me a family. And he did. I did have a dream that God would give me an opportunity to take a fatherless boy who kind of felt like he was an orphan and bring him into a home and say, you know what, I am now your father. I did have a dream for someone who didn't have any musical education, all those different things, but I had a heart for worship, that God did something in my life and he taught me. I had a dream and God gave me the opportunity. I had a dream and God had to reroute some things. Even at the age of 38 right now, God is still doing the same thing. See, God can still take you from struggle to success. Why? Because that is who he is. He doesn't change. See, the same God that was with Joseph is the same God that is with you. Can we stand in this place today? Can we lift our hands and surrender to the Lord? We can close our eyes all over this place. See, I don't know where you find yourself, but I want to encourage you that God is with you. See, in that passage we read several times, it said the Lord was with Joseph. I want you right now in this very moment, you don't have to scream it out at the top of your lungs, but you can whisper it in your voice. But I want you to say, instead of the Lord was with Joseph, I want you to say the Lord is with, and you say your name. Can we do that all in this place right now? The Lord is with me. Come on, say it again. The Lord is with. Say it again. The Lord. See, the same God that is with Joseph is the same God that is with you. And so no matter what has come that has shattered your dreams, no matter what has come that has caused you to question or has caused you to doubt, can I let you know that that same God that is with Joseph is the same God that is with you, and because of that very reason, you can dream